Hi, so a customer has a question about using an old shoji door like this and the problem being the paper. What if the paper, if we repapered it, it'd be fine, but of course when it gets home and the kids touch it or something happens to it, can you repaper something like this at home? So I just wanted a real simple, quick demonstration of how to repaper shoji. So here I've got a panel with some broken paper, and the first thing we're going to do is remove that old paper. On the old ones, this is normally held on by just a little bit of a rice paste kind of glue, sometimes referred to as nori. And so I'm going to get that paper nice and soaked all the way around and let that soak into the paper, and that will actually dissolve the glue for us. And then this should start to peel up pretty easily. Like that. And it normally comes away pretty clean. You might need to use a little bit more water in some places. But once you peel all that paper off, you can either use the rest of the paper or you could use a rag or something else, but you can kind of scrub that, get the rest of that glue and paper off. Now today a lot of people are using a shoji tape, and there's a little plastic tape, and if that's how your shoji was made, sometimes you might need to use a heat gun or a steam iron to get rid of that adhesive. But on a nice old door like this, it's just got a little bit of this rice paste glue. So it doesn't take very much. Get it cleaned up, and this is also the best time to clean spots like that if you're going to do that, when the paper's not on. And if you try and clean it afterwards, you'll get your paper dirty, and you'll get your, a lot of times you'll rip the paper. So just cleaning that all up. Okay, so now that your paper's gone, you can also use, if there's a spot that's a little tougher, you can get something like that with a razor blade. Okay, now that we've got the frame, the Kimiko clean, we can add a little bit of glue. This is a nori, which is basically a rice paste. You can make up your own rice paste, or you can buy something like this. And I'm just going to add a little bead of that rice paste or nori all the way around to the outside. This doesn't have to be perfect. You want contact everywhere, but if it's a little bit too much in one spot and it ends up bleeding out onto the paper, this rice paste or nori will dry clear, so you won't see it in the end, and that's okay. So don't be too hard on yourself. Do it. Making sure I got all the corners. The glue. Now this is also water soluble, so if you make a big mistake and you got to do the whole thing again, you can just wash it off. No big deal. All right. So I've pre-cut some paper to about the right size. I start on one side. Just sort of roll it out, straighten it out, and I'm stretching it a little bit. Stretching it a little bit, and then making sure I've got contact everywhere. So you want to try and see those dark lines of the glue coming through the paper on all your edges. Now Now it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a little less than drum tight right now. When the glue dries and the water dries, what will end up happening is the paper will shrink, and then in the very end we'll go back over and tighten just the paper up by itself after all of the glue is dried. I'll show you how to do that next. All right, so we've let the door dry, and now we're just going to trim the paper. So line that up. Let's see if I'm going to do it on this side. Using just a regular razor blade. Trim that square. So on this side, you can kind of see, sometimes if that paper is got a little bit too much glue on it and it's going out over the edge, you can always use just a wet rag and you can actually moisten it, and that glue will become a little less tight, and then you can just pull that off as well. Okay, so once your paper is trimmed, next thing to think about is this. This is just a little bit loose, as you can kind of see. And the way that we're going to get that to tighten up is we just spray a little bit of, let's see, spray this a little bit. And you kind of see that we just got a little bit of water on that. And as that dries, it's going to make that a little bit tighter. So we'll come back to that in a minute and take a look, see how tight it's gotten. All right, thank you. Okay, so we've let it dry for a bit, and now this is the test really, is you just tap on it and it should sound kind of like a drum. So that's nice and tight. If you still had a couple spots that are a little wavy, you could take that and spray them again, but looking at it from a couple different angles, I'm looking for lumps or waviness in the paper, and everything looks pretty good. So that's it. Thanks for watching.